This kind of is blowing my mind right now, and I want to know for sure. And you guys already know because I named the title whether it's bullshit or not. But I do believe deeply down that rejection is bullshit, and there's gonna be tons and tons of things that prove me correct, basically. Probably when it comes to finding the right girl for yourself, you have to go through a lot of rejection. But what if you wouldn't have to do that? Wouldn't it make your life a lot easier? For me personally, yeah, that would make me wow, just fall in love with life because if I don't get rejected, well, I find a girl. I would actually put a lot of effort into finding the right girl because I know it wouldn't be rejected, so I would put tons of effort to make sure that the girl I'm looking for is perfect, that we match just fine, right? And all of a sudden, that opens up a whole next level can of worms. Just this one thing. I have no idea how much excited you're gonna be if you knew that rejection is just not gonna happen, right? You're gonna be so invested in just searching for the best person possible. The same way you would be doing it with jobs, too. That's where you get rejected as well. But the reason why it's bullshit is because you can be hired just at very low price for free, right? You're just gonna be there for free, but you're gonna grow as a person. You're gonna get paid for something eventually, right? You're not gonna sit there and do nothing, right? You're gonna be able to do something useful and get paid for it. You're gonna start filling in that missing piece wherever it is. At some point, there has to be a missing piece, right? There has to be something that you could do that's profitable or that's just positive impact to the company or whatever you're doing, right? Wherever you are, you can be a part of it. Obviously, trying to find yourself is gonna be a hard thing to do, but holy shit, if rejection is bullshit, you just pick whatever you like and become over time become that, or you just switch to a new job if you're not getting paid ever, if you're realizing that you know the job that you have is bullshit and you're not going anywhere with it, you just switch very easily without worrying that you're gonna get rejected. It's almost like exactly what happens. I just got the news. uh, we're gonna have universal phone chargers up until 2024, meaning it's gonna be USB-C port whatever, but it's universal. Right now, your charger will not be rejected by some new phone that you're gonna get. Your charger will work just with every phone all of a sudden. That's pretty cute. And that's another reason why rejection is bullshit. It's government that had to step in and make this fucking thing universal and make sense. And there's probably more things that the government can do that we don't actually recognize that, you know, I guess it has to fight rejection in a sense. Except it was doing the opposite when it created minimum wage because minimum wage can destroys jobs, destroys opportunities. So there's certain things that you have to rethink, but that's kind of yeah. The government should be able to, you know, the government was trying to get something good out of raising minimum wage, but I don't think that's I don't think it worked, right? Again, there's so many things in the world you can do that's profitable that is below minimum wage, but it's so exciting to do that You know, like, come on, we should have those things, right? We should have, we should be able to make money out of anything. So yeah, government gets in the way a little bit. There's always something that creates a conflict, but we can push through that. Once we understand if it's bullshit or not, then we can push through that. And imagine, like life is so hard that just creating this ability for you to get whatever you want, but then obviously the dream does not last long if it fails. If the girl that you liked at first turns out to be creepy in some ways, like whatever, or just bad in some ways. Uh, but in that situation, again, you're committed, right? Now you're committed, so you're gonna try and work things out. That's another thing. Problem solving becomes a part of your life, not some rejection problem solving where you're trying to attract as many women as possible. You're actually doing something different. You're trying to do relationship problem solving instead of attraction problem solving. All this fucking bullshit where you're trying to get the best first impression, you're trying to look clean and shit, like all this shit goes away. Because you're trying to be a good human being. Because that's what works in a relationship, is being a good human being. You just figure out the fundamentals of our relationship because you're not rejected anymore. You focus on something that is way more important than whether you're gonna be rejected or not, which is like the most important thing at the moment, but it wouldn't be the priority anymore. And then what is next to fucking learn? The most annoying part about this is men are rejected because women are naturally greedy, I guess. Like, why is that happening? The only good reasonable thing where rejection exists is where you are already taken, right? You can't possibly make a new relationship and drop the one that you already have for a new relationship. You cannot exchange that. You're already taken. I have a boyfriend would be the biggest excuse you have for not falling in love anymore. And that's the craziest thing, actually. You can fall in love with anything. That's kind of how life works. That's why relationship problem solving is more important, because you can literally do it with anything. You can fall in love with a fucking imaginary girl, and that's the how low the bar is set, right? Imaginary girl. Yes, it's gonna be the most perfect girl ever, but she's not gonna be able to do anything. So, you can have imaginary Ariana Grande like I do, or I did. I'm not sure if I am into that anymore, but you can have it. You can have whatever the world has and turn it into an imaginary girl. But it's once you have a girl at all, you start realizing that it's actually better than your imaginary things. And she doesn't have to be even hot, right? There has to be a limit where things get ugly, obviously, and there are women that are ugly. I would assume. But yeah, I mean, no one wants to be ugly. So why would you be ugly? Why would you destroy yourself? But that's possible, right? Life always puts you in that uncomfortable situation by providing you things that are possible. You look at some people, they're genuinely ugly. Just like it provides the fact that there are people that are extremely talented. Perhaps I have a talent too, and that would be fucking amazing. I have a talent to think logically, which is ridiculous. It's rare, and I know how hard it actually is. To think logically is incredibly difficult, and I might need to learn more of that as I go on. But like, yeah, some people don't want to do it. Don't want to dig into the truth because, well, they don't want to submit to it, right? They would rather truth not exist. But yeah, we're gonna fight those people. I'm definitely against people who attack the truth, the idea of the truth. The rejection is bullshit. Yeah, that's another thing, right? If you handle the truth in improper way, like, you're not gonna grow as a person. It's just super obvious, right? What makes you grow is the ability to understand more things about life, about reality, about the truth that you exist within, and that's it. So I look back and it's so frustrating because I got rejected, and I got rejected multiple times, to where I am confused, right? Like, I know the relationship would work out. It's just, what are you looking for at this point? If you're rejecting someone like me, like, what are you looking for? Because I'm like, I'm probably below average from the first impression, like super below average. I'm terrible at first impression. But it's like, just, what the fuck are you looking for anymore? As creepy as it sounds, I am honestly, with the bottom of my heart, I was just trying to be a friend first. And if things don't work out, then we don't go any further than that. We just left in a friend zone. That's when you can actually leave me as a friend zone. That's when you can actually reject me, when I accept rejection. But if I don't accept rejection, we should try things, alright? We should try to make things work. And again, accepting rejection also means that you have to accept defeat, where someone else is faster at, capturing that girl, choosing that girl. Girls at this point would turn into Pokemons. It would turn into that kind of game where the first one wins, but the game does not end there. If you want to escape a relationship, well, you just pick someone else all of a sudden, right? Pick anyone else who, like you're friends with someone, but you don't like them that much, and they still insist on having this relationship. You can ditch that relationship real fast by creating a new one, or even fake it. Wait, does that mean that girls can reject you all of a sudden for free? That's messed up. See, all of a sudden rejection is yet again a possibility because of the rules. You can you can exploit a loophole in the system. Before the rules are set, like, we have to have some kind of rules, right? Especially for such important things as relationships, we should have it. We should have some interesting rules to follow. So, how exactly is it supposed to work? The first one wins. That's definitely something that I have to put on my list right now. Whatever the idea was that started the whole thing, if you're the first one, you win, right? You're the first one to comment on the video, you win. Now what, right? Now you win the relationship, you win the fucking golden ticket. but you have to make the most of it. Just like a Mr. Beast video where the guy wins the whole factory, right? But now what you're gonna do with it? You're gonna have to sell it immediately because it's not profitable whatsoever. You can't make profit that easily. So you reject yourself. Most of the time you're gonna be so scared to actually start a relationship that you will reject yourself. That's the most important part. Is recognizing how to play that type of game where you have to that's kind of interesting, right? That means rejection cannot even happen when you have a boyfriend already, because now you have two. It's just one boyfriend is better than the other because one boyfriend is first and the other one is second. And you can use the second one any way you like because they're just friend at the moment. They're not going to get any deeper than that. Potentially. Because they're going to be mistreated as a friend. They're going to be mistreated. And they're not going to go any deeper than that because they don't see a girl anymore. They just see someone who's abusing the powers of being a friend. So the relationship cannot happen. You cannot actually pursue a relationship with an abuser who's clearly abusing stuff, right? The same way, rejection doesn't work right now properly because everyone is abusing that feature. If someone is wasting your time, money, your, patience, you just lose that person. You just forget about them because they're terrible, right? You're not gonna have a relationship with them. That's the thing that I'm going around all the way to, and it's like, well, if rejection is kind of bullshit, you cannot actually control too much of what happens in life. But there's one thing that you have to do, and is apply to as many things as possible. Because if you fall in love with anything, then it doesn't matter which thing is not going to reject you all of a sudden and realize that you're not supposed to be rejected. But that's the thing, right? That's why I'm making this video. I hate rejection so much that I dare myself to live a little bit of a different life, the way that I want, alright? And I just find out this is the most brilliant thing ever, right? If this is true, then my life completely changes the way it works. Because now I have a special thing that I know for a fact, right? Whenever I get rejected, I can be a little bit of a smug in that position. I don't know. I don't know what I can do. I don't know yet. But we'll figure it out. This is the best thing ever, right? So it has to work in some ways. Even when people don't agree for it to work, it still has to work. The bullshit still has to be there. The flat experience, as I say, is undeniable. So it's like, why would you ever dare to try and say that the earth is round when there's no such experience available? It's amazing. Such experience does not exist. Do you experience the earth spinning? Please tell me if you do, because that would be crazy. And believe me, in some places the earth spins more near the equator than the other places around the poles. So figure that out. There's bigger rounder experience to be had in the equator, which is kind of crazy to me. Like, there's more experience down there? I have never heard of that difference whatsoever. But there should be. There isn't. Just like the Earth is not pear-shaped either. I have no idea how that became the greatest meme of all time, but it is. And the guy who said it just keeps on their word that it's true. Just didn't thought that it's the stupidest thing that was ever said, but okay, I guess. and he's supposed to be like well educated. I don't understand. I don't understand that part. Because it's all turns into a big ass lie that you cannot confirm anymore. It just becomes insanity that we pay for as well. That's incredible. I don't want to pay for bullshit, you know? So, flat earth just exposes a bullshit. I wish rejection is also exposed by me. That would be pretty good, right? I don't reject people. I genuinely like conversations and everything. It's just they don't happen that often. And in a way, I'm not good with conversations at the moment. I don't feel like doing them anymore. I don't feel like jumping into a random Discord and starting a chat with someone. I don't feel like doing that anymore. I felt like it before, but something changed. Especially after the hospital experience. The world is odd all of a sudden, yet again. I don't want to make rant videos, but I still making this one. And this is not exactly a rant video, is it? I'm just trying to figure out this one thing that bothers me, that made me light up so badly, in a good way. Just so excited about this. Let's not forget that evil is a lie, and there's barely any bad people that would be willing to do bad things. By the way, like, if rejection was not a lie, like people wouldn't be doing crazy things, like doing mass shootings or something. It's all because of rejection. Come on. Like, your life kind of gets fucked up if you're getting rejected too much. Like, if you can't get even the basic job at McDonald's, that sort of basic. If for some reason you're rejected, like, there are ways to fix the person. There are ways to make things work. So why isn't it attempting to work? Like, why are you destroying person's life because you don't like something? Like, fuck that. Either a person is profitable or not. But again, the government steps in and says it's minimum wage time, so it's either a person is profitable up to a minimum wage or not. Then it becomes a much tougher situation, and the rejection becomes a part of our lives at this point. But the important part about there's hardly any bad people, meaning that you can fall in love with anything, anyone. It will work. As much as you want to dump, how much effort are you willing to dump? That's gonna be the amount of love that you have for that thing, right? You have to try and make things work. You have to try and establish things. And now you're going to be dumping your effort. Which is, again, why you get rejected, right? This is the crazy little thing, is because people are fucking lazy. They want to do things quick. They want to pick the best people for the job. As well as the girls want the best person to exploit. They're lazy. Girls are lazy too. They don't give a fuck, right? If they get approached by too many people, they're gonna start being super picky about it. if they, you know, but again, the most important part, not just even lazy, fearful as well. This could be the case. You just don't want to start a relationship. You don't know what to do at that position, right? You can be very confused. You can be very fearful, incapable of actually controlling the whole situation properly. So you think you're not ready for it. That could be the case. Just like with the job, you're not ready to deal with a problematic person. You rather have someone that's smart, someone that's already capable of doing the job. You want an experienced person instead of like someone who you would have to teach certain things. But that's just, again, it shows that you're lazy or fearful. You're not actually ready for a relationship. That's why you're rejecting people. Again, rejection is something that exists, but is just low level bullshit that people have to go through. Again, bullshit exists in life, but it just is something that you have to be able to break through and destroy bullshit in your life. There has to be a way to actually ignore the bullshit. So if we go back, and the first bullshit that I've talked about is medication, what is the way that you can ignore medication? Are you going to not take it anymore? Well, you kind of have to take it. I have to take it because it's bullshit. That's just one of the things that makes it bullshit. You just have to take it. But you have to think through what is the least amount of effort you can take. And one way I can do it is forget to take my medication most of the time, because nothing will happen. Whether I take it or not, nothing will happen. There's absolutely no way to trace whether I was taking medication or not. So try that on me, right? And try to prove that I need medication in the first place. Try to prove that. It's just the most stupidest thing ever. And wait, am I rejecting medication? Well, you have to make choices in life, obviously. So you're accepting something. You're accepting something 1 out of 2. This is 50-50, right? You have to accept something, and you reject something else. So rejection is always going to be there. It's just, again, is bullshit, and you rather reject bullshit. Because then it's double negative. It becomes a positive again. If you reject bullshit, your life becomes a lot more clearer. I'm easily bored. I have nothing to do sometimes. But again, I understand that it's very hard to reject the fact that I already have games that I can play, right? Whether it's going to be fun or not, who knows? But I can't just reject all of them and pick up something new that easily, right? That's kind of where my entire idea of reviewing as many games as possible comes to a little bit of a crash. Because I don't want to just download new games. I get attached to the old ones. How am I supposed to reject the old stuff, right? How would rejection even work in that sense? Obviously, the first thing you have to do is recognize which things you actually like a lot. And don't reject those. Save those for as long as possible, because you never know when you're going to come back to it as, you know, You want to re-experience the old stuff. Sometimes you just want to do that. And you wanted to always have it. Especially, you want to have... You want to know which things are the best things that you ever had. And you want to have those things accessible. You don't want to destroy the best things you ever had. Whether it's completed or not, it doesn't matter. Even completionist himself is recompleting his games, which is the most craziest thing ever, honestly. But it's happening. Because the question is like, why would you waste so much time recompleting games that you already completed? But for some reason, it's happening, right? So there's not enough games in the market right now. There's plenty of games. Holy shit. Just not enough popular games. So, recompletion it is, I guess. And it's definitely bizarre. After making Reaper's Forge, there's still people around who want to see a next version of this game. But it's probably not gonna happen anymore. I am probably rejecting that idea. It's a hardcore rejection at this point. Because it's something that I was pouring a lot of effort into. And I just don't think it's important anymore. I am too lazy in terms of improving Creeper's Forge. But at the same time, you have to understand, I was putting so much effort into it, trying to make it work, and it worked pretty well. But it's not worth it anymore. It's there if I ever wanted to touch it and try to make it work even better. It's there. I'm just not willing to do it anymore. Does that make me a bad person? Instead, I think there's plenty of things that are already being created that we have to shift on focusing on those things that are already there because they're better, okay, than Creeper's Forge can ever be. As one person, I just don't have the technology to create anything useful whatsoever. You know, you have a game like Skyrim is so filled with details, crazy details. You can stand on anything, and while that thing moves, you move as well, which is crazy thing to think about. And you can stand on anything, you can float on anything, and it moves. It makes you move too. It's crazy. Just the physics themselves are crazy to think about, that they work. Physics. The whole engine is there. And I was foolish to attempt to make an engine of my own. Foolish. By all means. And in a way, again, I had to reject that idea. I had to reject simple bullshit out of my life. The fact I was just making bullshit. In a way. As creative as that was, as talented as that was, it was bullshit because it just can't compete with the original, right? With the original games that I'm trying to beat. I can't beat Minecraft. That's just impossible. And for some reason, not even Hytale is beating Minecraft. Where's Hytale now? Why is it fucking gone out of existence? Right? No one's talking about Hytale. Where is it, dude? Was just released? Oh, gameplay. Oh, yeah. We didn't saw gameplay before. Finally, gameplay is released. Yes, dude. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for 265 subscriber account. Talking about Hytale. Let's go, dude. Let's subscribe to this guy because he's He knows what he's talking about. He's well edited his videos. That has to do something, right? Again, I think editing your videos is a bit foolish because you just can't make enough content for people to enjoy. I can do it. I can make enough content. I'm not proud of my content, but it's still, you have to still think about, is it worth well editing your videos? Is it really? What if you just make it more realistic, like a podcast? But at the same time, yeah, it's gonna be a lot more boring, is it? So you have to figure things out. It's really hard. So I just simply don't do it. I think that's bullshit too. If you don't like to watch it, congratulations. There's so many YouTube channels. I'm doing exactly that. I'm telling you, so many ways that you're not supposed to watch my channel. There's so many other channels you can watch. You might just have a trouble finding those channels, but you know, or there's always TikTok. It's a point because it's a big deal. Alright, TikTok kind of defeats YouTube in a sense of entertainment. The videos are way better when they're short, when they're straight to the point. And you can feel the difference between good and bad videos, between popular and unpopular videos. You can feel the difference, and you are making the change while you go. You are the one kind of playing the game of it's in your hands. Whether the video is going to become popular is in your hands, because sometimes you get to be first. You know, that's pretty cool. And decide how things work. And let's be fair, people don't want to talk about Hytale destroying Minecraft, beating Minecraft. We have to talk about it, okay? We want Minecraft to be completely obliterated, okay? With features, with all kinds of things. It looks fucking stupid at this point. It looks like it could go towards more like Skyrim, more adventurous. There's more things to do. The world of Minecraft is boring, of all things, and it's not supposed to be like that, because there's so much that you can do. It doesn't work very well. There's no real feeling of progression. You just take an iron armor, take a fucking bow, kill a dragon, and that's your entire game. Just kill a dragon randomly without leveling up or anything, without getting harder and harder opponents attacking you or anything. You just kill the dragon, right? Kill some blazes, kill some endermen, and kill a dragon. And that's your entire game, basically. And you just try and figure out how fast you can do that. So you do a speedrun of that. And that's your game. You're just speedrunning Minecraft. Is the saddest thing ever. If you start to speedrun a game, I think you have acquired the saddest existence ever. I think speedrunning is boring, is what I'm saying. Yes, there's so many small things you have to look out for when you're speedrunning, and that might improve something about you, but I just don't see it. Alright? Is this like created by a fucking artificial intelligence? What's going on? That's exactly the question that you have to ask yourself. Will Hytale be better than Minecraft? This is the fucking thing, dude. I'm not exactly sure what I'm watching right now. This is interesting. They're clearly working on features that we don't care about anymore, right? Can we just get the game, you know, with some base level of a game, and stop adding features to it, because that's just It just sounds too much for me. It just sounds ridiculous. Why is this game not out for like how many years? I have no idea. 3, 4 years? It's some ridiculous number at this point. Production began at 2015. Alright, yeah. Sounds like bullshit to me at this point. Is Hytale coming out on 2021? Is Hytale ever coming out? Release at 2023. Are you sure about that? I'm not sure about that at all. I think it's not going to be released ever. I guess it could be released alongside with Elder Scrolls 6. So that would be cool because that's kind of what happened with Minecraft. Minecraft was officially released the same time Elder Scrolls 5 was released. So maybe that happens again. That would be pretty cool. Or Minecraft 2 gets released and Hytale can kiss its ass because it will never beat Minecraft 2. Minecraft 2 is unbeatable. In a sense, if you really think about it, Hytale is pulling off a huge rejection wave. Let's call it a wave. Because it's rejecting so many people from playing the actual game right now. From enjoying the game. Like, why are you doing this? No one cares if it's finished or not. Everyone just wants to get their hands on the game. And do whatever, you know, run around and do nothing. Still better than not having a game, right? Any level of finish, any amount of work you put in, it's still going to be good, right? You have just a few voxels laying around. You can jump from one voxel to another. Still pretty good. Please release it. People will enjoy it. You know, you don't have to wait to ensure that you have enough features or something. You don't have to do that. But it's pulling off the greatest rejection ever. For some reason. That's a thing. The same thing goes even deeper. We can dig even deeper. Free to play is the way to go. People should be able to just, you know, free to play every single game out there. For some reason, free to play games are terrible compared to, you know, AAA titles. But I'm not sure what happens there, okay? Yeah, the greed. The greed shows up immediately on free-to-play games. You're not going to be able to complete the free-to-play game easily anymore. They're going to put paywalls. And you have to deal with that. But essentially, I still think free-to-play is the way to go. Even with that in mind. Even with the idea that the companies are going to get greedy. Anyways, right? They have to get the money somehow. Besides, you already have to compete with free-to-play games all over the place. How are you going to do that? It's pretty hard to compete with that shit, honestly. Which, you know, brings us back to the same point. Should girls be free to play? Yes, I think so. Free to play. As long as you go outside with a miniskirt, you're free to play. You coming with me at this point. Yeah, it's as creepy as it can sound to some people, but no, you're coming with me. You got me hooked. Alright? In that sense, wouldn't it make it less valuable? The girl is less valuable when she's free to play. Anyone can just do whatever they want with the girl. But at the same time, it's just such a pathetic thing that the only thing that you can do with a girl is just have sex. Is that all you got? Is there really nothing else to do that encompasses play? You know? It's all sexual bullshit. I think it's bullshit. I think we found more bullshit along the way. Is being overly sexual. I mean, the urge to nut yourself is there. But once you do it, you don't want it anymore. So just fucking do it, alright? Nut yourself and forget about sex because there's way better things to think about anyways, right? Instead of trying to make it longer somehow. That prolong your sexual tension for things. I don't know. Well, I already put it that way. Being overly sexual is bullshit. So just get it out of the way of perhaps actually good things. Especially if it creeps people out or is just not simple to do. But again, people got these things figured out at this point. Being sexual is just not a problem, is it? Being free to play is not a problem, is it? I just don't think it's a problem. Even though there are sexually transmitted diseases. STDs, baby. They're those. We heard about those. I just don't believe they're true. That they have to be something related to malnourishment. Because sex is like super expensive energy-wise. Yeah, you get knocked out essentially. You're gonna get run out of energy real fast. This is why there is a no-fap community which tries to preserve that energy, but I wouldn't join that, to be honest. It's sometimes great to just fall asleep afterwards, after the whole nut moment. Obviously, someone had to fucking comment. There are two different games. None is better than the other. Are you fucking insane? Are you living in a world where grass is red? Where you can't fucking understand what truth is, right? You can, in fact, compare apples and oranges despite them being a different fruit, alright? Yes, comparing one apple to another apple is a little bit better in a way, but you can still compare apples and oranges whether you like them or not. You know, figure that out. It would be kind of difficult to compare apple to a shoe. I understand that. How do you compare the two different things? But we're talking about games here. Games that are played. And depending on how much you play a certain game, that's how you compare it. You know? It's unbelievable. But again, people don't have logic, so who cares, right? You just regurgitate what you have heard someone say, right? You just regurgitated what people are, uncomfortable with. Saying that one thing is better than the other. Oh my god, I'm so uncomfortable. Oh, I'm so uncomfortable saying that Hytale is gonna beat Minecraft. That is just not something you should talk about. And then everyone shares this bullshit ideologies all of a sudden. Where it doesn't hold any logical fucking power, I suppose. So you encounter bullshit quite a bit, because people love to believe it. For some reason, right? We're just not perfect. And we should enjoy being not perfect, because it's very interesting to recognize after all this time that you have been fucking believing in bullshit. I think that's pretty cool. But people sometimes are so eager to not not convert themselves to the truth. It's kind of bizarre, right? Then you just that's the person that has to be rejected because that's the person with bullshit, right? You can again reject bullshit as much as you want. So again, without rejection, there's another thing that happens. Let's say you encounter a friendship request that is from a person that's the same gender as you, which is crazy, right? That would make you gay. No, it's just a relationship. You can have it as much as you want. This is why the most annoying thing that happened, which is I already covered that, we over sexualize things. Where is that? Oh, it's right there. Being overly sexual is bullshit. If you think, but at the same time, it's like you wouldn't fucking say that a friend is something sexual at all, right? So you can definitely have a friend. Especially on the internet, this problem is quickly fixed where you can't do anything sexual. Yes, you can text each other and fucking naked photos of yourselves, but like that's not gonna happen that often, will it? And I do find internet to be exactly that, like a world without rejection. You can follow whoever you want. You can watch videos of whoever you want because they're free, right? Like, internet provides a lot of free stuff, and that's just amazing. That's a game that children do, wouldn't it? Isn't that true? Where you try to make things work even though they're not actually those things. Because you really want to have a telephone, you will play with rocks and pretend. And that's kind of what rejection is about. It's like you don't. Well, actually, no. That's what happens when you are rejected from having a telephone. You will just play pretend in a way if you're a child. This point just doesn't go anywhere. But the important part is trying to make something work, not rejecting it straightforward, right? You might be able to enjoy the rock without having a telephone, and you'll be fine with that. You won't need a telephone. But eventually you're gonna realize, okay, rock is not a telephone. I can't really like it more than the telephone. It's just I have accepted something that has been first in my life, despite maybe you can upgrade the rock. So that's kind of how you go through life without rejection. You upgrade things. Because then you can actually see things becoming bullshit. The rock becomes bullshit because you found a piece of paper and used that as a telephone for some reason. Well, you draw things onto it and it looks more like a telephone. That's cool, right? And maybe you buy like a super cheap telephone eventually. And that's upgrading right there. You're chasing your dream, you're upgrading towards it. But along the way, then you actually encounter a rejection, right? You will not be able to accept a rock anymore. But you will have a pretty good reason why. because you have a way better thing. Again, when you approach a girl who has a boyfriend, she will show you a pretty good reason why she will not like you, right? That she has a boyfriend, maybe a few rejections down the line, that a boyfriend that's upgraded a few times already. So she will show that to you, and you will have to piss off at this point. And eventually this choice is already made, right? Essentially, when you have a child. You can't really switch boyfriends when you have a child. But, no, you can. Yes, you can. And this is kind of why you shouldn't marry anyone, because, like, it gives too much freedom for that person to be an asshole all of a sudden. You should still be open for relationships, just because, right? Just to be secure. That nobody turns into an asshole and ruins everything, and you cannot escape that kind of toxic relationship. But there's one more thing that's kind of interesting, isn't it? Can't you just have multiple boyfriends? Right? Yes, you can. Just like you have multiple followers on the fucking Instagram or whatever. Or YouTube subscribers. You can have multiples and tons of them. Obviously, everyone is going to be jealous of each other, but you can still have it. As weird as it is, and you're going to lose some boyfriends because of that, right? But that's their choice. See, the thing is, like, there's already a thing with multiple girlfriends. That's not a edge case or anything. But with boyfriends, that's fucking, oh no. You can't have that. So yeah, you definitely can. I don't know why it doesn't play to both sides equally. Because it feels like men can have multiple girlfriends more often. Even though that's also kind of edge case. Everything, all of this is an edge case. This is bullshit, alright? Because that's how you handle not rejecting people. You just accept it, you know? And they have to accept it, that, you know, you can't choose sometimes. It's good to have both or more. Especially when you think about it, at some point, if you want to join every single person with another person, different gender here, there's always more people on a certain gender. It's not 50%, 50%. It's going to be 89% and 51%. If you join every single person out there, you're going to have a multiple of 2 somewhere. But it gets even worse, right? Because someone is going to have a multiple of 2 just because, right? So then to counter that, you have to have a multiple of 2 on a different gender. But it gets even worse and worse. And it's hard to explain, but yeah. Again, just one simple reminder that has nothing to do with anything I've said previously, is just you can reject things that are bullshit. Alright? You can't reject people that are toxic. Because you can't handle those people. You just can't accept those people. If there's no ability to accept something, then there is no mystery behind it. It's just supposed to be obvious for that person. They have to change. Just in my head, I'm putting down a scenario like this, like, okay, why can you accept me? Because I have a boyfriend who's gonna get very jealous or something. And then it's like, isn't that like a bad thing? Shouldn't you still be more open-minded just because you have that kind of a boyfriend who is jealous all the time? Like, what the hell is that? I honestly feel like jealousy is like one of those huge things that kind of change how relationships work in the first place. Almost too many people are jealous. And that's why we cannot have infinite boyfriends or girlfriends. Because of jealousy. But that's a bad thing. Jealousy is a bad thing, right? It makes no fucking sense that it should be a limit. But you not only get girlfriends jealous of each other, you also have every single dude who sees you with 3 girls or so. They will be jealous of you as well, and that kind of jealousy is dangerous because you're gonna get in trouble for showing that you have way more than everyone else. It's kind of more dangerous to be rich, but at the same time, I have not heard that to be the case, where rich is dangerous. Like, yes, a little bit dangerous, but not that much. Like, there's so many rich people that live a normal life and don't have to fucking deal with anything. Like, so, still, Infinity Boyfriend stands. And that little bit of jealousy is just, it doesn't hold ground. It's not something you're supposed to have in a relationship. Jealousy. It's crazy. So yeah, I say being rich is dangerous here, but then I just retract everything and say not that much. It's really not that dangerous, especially when you can hire bodyguards if you need it. But the fact that you need it that's what makes it dangerous, doesn't it? So that's kind of interesting. I do believe, moving on, I do believe that pirating is the best thing about gaming. Simply because you get the games for free. You get to test the game before you recognize whether you like it or not. Whether you would have been cheated out of money or not. Because... And eventually you end up owning the game anyways. I end up owning Skyrim, I end up owning Fallout 4. Games that I like really much. I end up owning that. Now, at the moment, I don't have enough money to actually buy any games. And that's just lame, right? But I want to sit there and play games forever. And especially, I want to play different kind of games just to review them, just to see what's out there in the first place. And, without pirating, I wouldn't be able to do that shit. Yeah. So just one of those things that removed rejection. Oh, you don't have money, you're gonna get rejected by all these games out there. No, that will not happen. Some games are still gonna reject you, like Diablo 3, you cannot actually download that, because it requires there's a special launcher for it. You cannot get it unless you are connected to Blizzard. And you cannot connect through Blizzard with, pirated connection. Like, you can't do that. So there are still some games that go around this while making it requiring you to be online, to be connected through with your profile or whatever, with your account. But it's still bullshit, I think, right? Regardless how cheap the game is. So how did my argument with a random fucking person on the internet go? I have no idea. This person says I can determine Terraria is better after all we fucking talked about. The stupidest thing he says, and if you eat oranges more than apples, that doesn't mean oranges are better than apples. something is better if people use it more, right? It's just simple, right? So one person cannot determine, but a good sample of people can determine whether something is better or not, simply by the fact whether people use it more or not. And I don't think Terraria is better, right? Terraria is just I can't. This guy is just trolling at this point. Like, what the fuck is the point of me doing a conversation if someone is just trolling? Oh, Terraria is better. There's no way. People don't play Terraria as much as Minecraft. And Minecraft has reached crazy records at this point. That we wish that a game would come out and broke those records somehow. Right? That a game would do better than Minecraft. It's just very simple as that. Just to finish my argument, Terraria is not better. I don't know a single Terraria YouTuber at all. There's plenty of Minecraft YouTubers out there, and again, Minecraft is the most played game ever. What does Terraria has to do with anything? This is clearly just trolling at this point. Someone who doesn't fucking get anything and just wants to make an argument just because he heard something somewhere, so he picked up that fucking stupid idea. Anyways, it is annoying that you cannot change people's minds more often than not. That people are so close-minded. They can believe whatever they want to fucking believe. They don't care about the truth at all. They're not gonna change their minds. It's just so annoying. For some reason, we have no good sense of when we're actually totally wrong about something. No sense of that. If you start trolling, it's like you're not making an argument anymore. You're just fooling around. And that's the best moment for me to reject someone like that, and I will not post any more comments on that topic, because it's fucking stupid now. And I can make fun of stupid all I want, but it's not gonna get me anywhere. Here's another example of rejection. Debating. Just simply talking about certain ideas is not something left likes to do. Liberal censorship. That's what he's talking about. And it absolutely works for some reason. For some reason, liberals are always right, and they're gonna get you fired if you say anything against that. In other words, a new bullshit has been invented where you reject people's opinions. There's a movie called Yes Man that the main point of the movie is to remove rejection from your life. You accept everything, whatever happens. Here's probably the best reason why rejection is bullshit. You need to meet people in the middle. Meaning that whatever deal pops up, if you just say no and someone says yes, you have to be a maybe. You have to find the middle ground of everything. Which means if something is bullshit, then you said no, first of all, potentially. And the bullshit said yes, but it's bullshit, so it's actually no. The bullshit is actually a no. And it breaks the deal. Unless you want bullshit, then you say yes to bullshit. That's all up to you, dude. And you're gonna be met in the middle, which is, maybe you're a bullshit person. Yeah, so for some reason, liberals think they're ahead of everyone else. They know everything already because they have figured out feelings for things. They have very strong feelings. And that's it. It's just, you offended me because you broke my feelings. And somehow I had the moral ground this whole time. Right? It's the stupidest shit ever, but for some reason it works at the moment. No one really destroyed liberals yet, properly. No one's actually doing the job to do effectively enough, but it's probably possible. Right? Somehow it has to be possible. It's just the people who are in the establishment, in the system, they cannot oppose this because they're gonna get completely destroyed. Their lives gonna be destroyed. They're gonna lose their jobs and lose potential jobs too. What are they gonna do at this point? So, is someone completely outside the system supposed to destroy that ideology of leftism? Because they have a lot of things wrong. I hope. I just honestly hope. But most importantly, like, I support Flat Earth. Flat Earth is being silenced as well. I know how bad this shit gets. Just with that one conspiracy theory, whatever. I just hate that people are not open-minded about things. It's just pathetic. So there's a bunch of people who like Flat Earth, and you want to say no to that, but you can't. If you genuinely want to run a genuine program or a website, you have to still consider things, right? Besides you being able to say no and yes to things, besides you being able to click buttons and ban anyone who opposes you, you still have to consider things. That's the whole fucking point of why rejection is bullshit. We have won the debate. I think we did it. If you don't consider things, then you're gonna be a part of bullshit that will be completely destroyed eventually. See, the reason why I ended up the conversation, because I saw bullshit, I just saw that the person just follows their feelings. They're not following what is true. They're following their feelings. And I'm not here to hurt them. So I will not continue the conversation, even though I'm right. That doesn't mean that I'm gonna hate on that person just because I'm right. Just some people gonna hold beliefs, terrible beliefs. They're gonna be children about it, but you're not there to bully a child just because they believe a certain thing, right? This is kind of the whole ideology of the left, I guess. They acting like children that cannot be hurt. It's just kind of weird how you claim the moral ground just because you're untouchable as a child. You have wrong beliefs, but you still can do it. So if you are not open-minded and you cannot consider that you're wrong, then you're probably just a child. You're immature. Or I already have another word for that, which is opportunist. Or whatever. Opportunist. A person who takes every opportunity to be correct. More right than everyone else. Right? Just because they can. Just because they can F the system that much to pretend to be correct. And that's what leftists are pretty much doing. They're taking the advantage of something, of feelings, of the way the world works-ish. Just something is being taken advantage of. Just like if you control YouTube, you get to ban certain topics from being reachable for people. You just allow counter topics to flourish. So the conversation I had with this Minecraft person it turned into bullshit eventually. I was considering that I was wrong by having a conversation in the first place. But obviously I have to deliver my arguments and see what do I get out of it. Do I get better arguments against me, or do I get bullshit? And I got bullshit, and that's where the conversation ends. It's like, well, I recognize I'm actually correct on this thing that I'm trying to argue about, so I don't have to continue proving anything. I'm just correct. I don't have to prove anything. So yeah, I win the argument. I don't prove anything. I just go wherever I do things that I have to do. Otherwise, I cannot change people's minds. This is not gonna happen. Climate change has been brought up, and it's one of those things that liberals opposed. The idea that climate change may not exist. And honestly, I don't see climate change. I don't have the experience of climate change. I don't see what people are so eager to run away from when it's not there, right? Where nature does a pretty good job of being very stable right now, no matter what we do to nature. So, but if for some reason they want something to be true, and then they manipulate feelings. We really don't want the Earth to be hotter than it is right now. It's already hard to sustain, right? It's gonna melt all the fucking ice everywhere and flood the world. We're in so much trouble. But we're not sure if that will happen. We just really want it to be true that we're in danger for some reason. It's just, why? Why would you want that? For fuck's sake, when you put it together, it doesn't make sense whatsoever. Why would you want that to be true? Why don't you just buy the illusion that it's not true? Well, you want it to be true because you want to fucking contribute somehow. You want to make a positive change in the world, but it's the stupidest thing, dude. If climate change is real, then we would already be screwed. But it's not, and the world just keeps on going. We did a lot of bad things to the Earth already. So why we aren't screwed now? Why is it gonna happen later? Like, it kind of makes no sense to me. This video is crazy, dude. Talking to AI is crazy. It says we will need a universal basic income because jobs are gonna get lost. It says all these cool things basically. Am I just gonna be rejected as an attempt to figure things out? Am I just the most useless piece of shit ever? Trying to understand rejection? Well, rejection is gonna happen anyways. You're just a loser who can't accept it. I'm not saying that bullshit is not gonna happen. You have to accept bullshit in your life. I would say making a family is bullshit because there's so many families already. We don't need to grow population in any way. And it's just a complicated thing to create even. But people do it because we adopted this ideology, I guess, from our parents, that making a family is the way to go, but maybe it's not. Maybe we have to look at certain things and figure out whether they're bullshit or not, because things change. That's the most difficult part about it. The trying to appeal to people, making the best first impression, is kind of really big deal for everyone. If you open up TikTok, it's almost like everyone is trying to make a good first impression because they only have a few seconds of time to, make you not scroll through, make it capture your attention. It's really a big fight, and again, this is the most important rejection out there. Is rejection by people who want to watch content, who want to do stuff. That is, oh boy, that is a big platform. I'm honestly too lazy to try and improve myself. It seems a little bit annoying to me. The fact that I have to do anything. The only thing I want to do is sit on my ass and do nothing. I'm not saying that I don't invite improvement into my life. It's just I don't constantly pursue it in terms of learning new skills or anything. I would rather just be as I am, and I would still be able to provide to society something, just barely enough so I could get by. Obviously, the society does not give a fuck what I want, because everyone is starving, everyone is poor all of a sudden, and there's nothing I can do. Like, I'm not sure what would happen if I gone to the streets and just kind of tried to provide try to provide something, anything that people would pay for. I mean, magicians should exist in the first place, so you can make money that way. But you know, like, well, what can you do in the streets that would make you money? Like, there's very little they can do to impress people. You have to be super creative, and I hate that. I want to provide this logical type of content. And obviously, as I've shown consistently, I want to provide a place where you can figure out what to watch on YouTube. Because TikTok has everything figured out. It's a perfect platform. But YouTube definitely needs me, in a way, like organizing every single YouTuber out there. And there is plenty of them. Who knows how many of them there are. I keep discovering them out of nowhere. It's big ones too, like, it's such a hard thing to do, to actually find them. People who do the English commentary and everything. Because there's definitely a list for like top 1,000 YouTubers out there, but YouTube channels, but they're foreign most of the time. So I kind of hate going through that just to find a few channels. There's not a clear-cut way to do it. So I just kind of want to try and contribute. Obviously, the biggest rejection for me is my own rejection. That I don't want to do anything. I want the world to recognize me automatically. So in a way, I put all the pressure to the subscribers that I already have, to like, yeah, promote me, let people know that I exist, that I do this stuff. I put all the pressure. I know I should be doing this myself and trying to figure out how to promote myself. But I also fear rejection, that I'm gonna be a complete trash, which I don't edit my videos, so that means I'm complete trash, right? So fucking lazy. I don't actually put effort into my videos. Oh no. Which is kind of true, right? Like, I do it the most lazy way possible. I don't edit out my mistakes. I just make sure that all the commentary goes through, so I cut pieces where I'm silent. But for me personally, rejection has not been something that makes me want to improve myself. It just gets in the way, basically. Because I'm so fearful of everything. And rejection just kind of made me not want to do things, right? I do care what people think about me for some reason. It's kind of weird. But everyone does. And honestly, people are fearful of rejection, like really badly. They will do whatever it takes to not be rejected, to be a part of society, which kind of includes doing bullshit things that society just generally does, right? Like, I'm probably not gonna make a family. I'm probably gonna be completely alone, just living with my mom for a long time. For a really long time, until maybe I change my mind about something. Maybe someone opens up new ideas for me. Maybe I bump into someone. But again, I'm not gonna change on my own. There has to be some kind of help coming in and opening my perspective to something, or just generally helping me reach my goal of being that kind of YouTuber, right? Or kind of entertainer that I want to be. There are tons of opportunities out there in the world, and there's one thing that's coming up, right? Like AI is coming up. And being knowledgeable about its powers, like, you can probably use those to earn money too. It's the biggest problem in my life, honestly, is money, right? Once I fix that problem, I wouldn't feel that left out of society. That's kind of a big deal. Government solved half of my money problems. If I would receive 400 euros a month, I would just be completely secure in terms of money. Completely secure. I wouldn't have to think about it at all. But instead I get half of it, right? Like 200, around 200. So if the government would valued me twice as much, I would be completely fine with my life, and I would be able to do whatever I want. 100%. So the biggest problem happens, and how I structure this video entirely. At the beginning, I talked about losing actual opportunities, losing actual fans that would help you out, right? Whether it's a job or a relationship. So you would actually reject good things, but here we're talking about rejecting bad things, right? You're trying to improve yourself, so you're trying to reject as much bullshit as possible. So that makes up a conclusion, which is rejection is important as long as you reject bad things. So now the most confusing thing of all is rejection bullshit, if it's actually useful. The only bullshit part I talked about is not recognizing opportunities, not recognizing that you can add people into your life one way or the other. We can simplify even more. Not only recognizing opportunities, not recognizing opportunities is bullshit, but mistreating people. This is kind of what I get from the video. the immediate mistreatment of a black person, which it's crazy, right? By black people themselves. Like, black people are probably, uh, uh, oh, this is nuts at this point. Black people have nothing better to do but to care about race, in a way. Racism is technically rejection too, right? I think I was being mistreated by girls like 90% of the time. I'm not sure how much. I mean I found a girl that did not do that. Did not treat me as a guy who's chasing her all the time. And I was never really chasing anyone, but I felt a lot of attraction. And I did not want it to be rejected, because you just can't control that attraction. That's kind of what leads me to making the video in the first place, is that they could have treated me a lot better and get away with it. Get away with not being close to me whatsoever. Maybe teaching me a few lessons about life along the way, making me a better person, and making me more attractive as a result, so I can find my own path and away from the first few crushes that I would have in life. But obviously, we're talking about immature girls, right? Someone who cannot possibly teach me anything besides the harsh truth about reality. And as I move on in life, of course, I'm going to meet more mature people. It's just now that I don't actually want to go out and meet people. It's just not happening anymore. And I feel down on myself because of the past, which is kind of tragic, actually, to care about the past too much. But at the same time, it's not tragic. It's just a part of my history. It's totally fine. I don't feel down about it. I just want to understand better what rejection is, in a way. Going even more the point deeper into the video, this one that I posted here, this black person gets rejected by other black people, so he wants to fit in, and he starts fucking selling drugs. What? Doing illegal stuff just to fit in? So that's a question. Can rejection shape you in the wrong way? You would really want to fit. It's strange, dude. I would just give up. You cannot please everyone, especially if you have to do wrong things to be accepted, to chase acceptance. Rejection is a projection of someone's own fear and insecurities. That's what we're talking about here. Mistreating people because of your projection. Not sure why he adds rejection as like life rejected me and it broke something. Some health condition happened that he couldn't do his sports anymore. I'm not sure if that's a good idea of rejection. Just life screwing you over, and then you lose your life purpose. You cannot do what you want to do. Obviously, just move on and do something else. Just like obviously, how can you be so stupid? At this point, I'm looking at this person like, how can you just move on, do something else? This would be the advice at this point. Don't take rejection too seriously. You're gonna be mistreated, but just don't let it shape you the wrong way. Don't let it fucking suicidal just because life mistreated you somehow. Is damn. But is it bullshit though because of that? That's kind of a puzzle, isn't it? To try and figure out if people are all equal. They're all equally good. That's probably not the case, right? I already dealt with that problem. There is heaven and there is hell. The hell is for the bad people who decide that, well, they prefer hell instead. They want to see people suffer and everything. But finding these people is probably super difficult. It's still. Or is it? What if anyone who opposes the truth and doesn't recognize the truth and has not an open mind is gonna naturally fall into hell, and people are just not all equal? That's just, you can become better at something, right? You can improve yourself as a whole. So then rejection does make sense all of a sudden. But that's the whole point. I've talked about before. Rejection is there working as an upgrade. And that's how you're supposed to view life in general. You're supposed to take something as fast as possible and then try and upgrade it. Instead of holding on to it, if it's not upgrading itself at the same time. That's the real question, right? Can you upgrade it more than you can upgrade it by replacing it? Whatever that might be. But still, you want to grab something and hold on to that as a way to fill in the void. Saying that people are all equal is probably as the same as saying every single video people make is equal, and that's not true. There's different amount of effort that people put into themselves and put into their work. So yeah, it's kind of tragic that it's not equal, and at the same time, people live in different backgrounds too. It's not that it's their fault that they don't put enough work. They live in a different background and just can't be accepted sometimes. So you have to filter these people out. So here's my little secret, or a big secret. I collect pictures of women. That's how I fill my void. Women are technically just the best at being pretty and not much else, so I think this does a pretty good job of filling the void, honestly. I don't need a girlfriend, a person that's close to me, looking good all the time. Which, at the same time, I kind of realize I can't afford that. It's just too much. So honestly, I'm happy with my life as it is. There's definitely a few improvements that could have been made by, me finding a way to actually earn a living. That would be pretty cool. But I'm still glad my mom covers up my ass quite a bit, and I'm not rejected by her, so that's cool. As the best woman in my life. This is it, man. This video is it, dude. Just hit the right point. If I stay long enough and negotiate, I can turn no into a yes. That is fucking brilliant. Yeah, this must be like the best video ever. Like, so funny, so fucking cool. Just trying to do funny things and get rejected for it. It's pretty amazing. This is a little bit concerning to me. A little bit. 3 days. This is how many videos there are in 3 days. This is Static's channel. Who would subscribe to that? They would be completely flooded with content that they don't want to watch. But it just kind of also proves that there's so many speakers that want to be heard and they shouldn't be. They shouldn't even try, because this is just way too many. Oh my god. And it's really weird because this is one of the most subscribed channels I have seen, alright? Fucking crazy. This is, I don't know, this is like top 100, right? It's kind of strange. Leftists are aiming to make sure that people are accepted more often, but in a very weird way. They make sure that races accept more often and women accepted more often for some reason. Then gays and lesbians and LGBT bullshit accepted more often into society, maybe even too much so, where it's like, you kind of have to be a part of that group too, buddy. That's how accepted you're gonna be. You kind of have to propagate this whole fucking bullshit. It's where everyone is accepted. But the most important thing is, like, I kind of recognize that the moments that I had when I wasn't rejected, I was accepted, are pretty sweet. And I would love to have more of those moments. And I'm sure that people are not, we're not just simply not capable of actually delivering those moments to me. They do in fact need training, I would say. Because again, the important thing that you can accept people to a certain point. Obviously, you can't accept people who are gonna be abusive or anything, who are gonna fucking mess things up. But you can accept random people to a certain extent, as long as they're not damaging anything about you, about your life. And it is hard, but you kind of, after a little bit of work, you can see it as your responsibility in a way, because you want to be accepted too, so you kind of want to not, you kind of want to take the opportunity, that presents itself. As much as I would love to say that rejection is not bullshit, and people really need the protection and everything, I think people are overly protective of themselves. Honestly, like, so much. The people have so many fears that are just totally not legitimate. They projected things like that onto me as well at school. Pretending that, well, I'm silent, so I'm gonna be fucking a killer one day, like some bullshit like that. I'm silent, I keep it to myself, so, oh my god, this guy is dangerous. It's definitely not the case at all, and I was just completely confused when that popped up. But yeah, just people come up with all kinds of fears. I myself have plenty of fears too. Anything can go wrong when you're dealing with people, and you want to be protected from that. And you often enough, you're gonna reject people because of that. And that's kind of hard to actually solve, honestly. It is a little bit annoying. Like, who would want protection from me? I'm so fucking harmless. I wouldn't do anything. but at the same time, weird things happen in life, and you just pick up all these insecurities by hearing the news. Whatever happens in the world, whatever is possible in a sense. this is so fucking difficult to get to a conclusion, because there are legit things on both sides. I cannot say either way whether rejection is bullshit or not. I just can't. Yeah, going back to this LGBTQ community and everything, they reject people for being rejectful, a little bit rejectful. With fucking calling people bigots is fucking stupid, right? You don't want to do that. And in a sense, rejection is bullshit if you mistreating people. Because shoving a belief down people's throats is not actually a cool thing to do. Don't be surprised if you're gonna be rejected and then you all of a sudden want to reject back because it felt really bad. Wow. Oh, here's an interesting deal. I just looked at like Need for Speed Heat and I'm like, damn. The balance. There has to be a perfect balance if you really want to be entertaining. What does this has to do with fucking with the whole rejection thing, right? You need a perfect balance. You need a perfect difficulty of what kind of walls do you build up? How difficult you make it to be to approach you or approach a certain job. How difficult you make it. There has to be a perfect balance. And as we all know, this is the hardest thing to do for some reason. People, just so super difficult. I think Need for Speed Heat actually did a perfect job. I genuinely think that they allow and Enderall did a perfect job as well. Just Skyrim, dude. It made me seem that no one actually does a perfect job, but they do. They figured out how to do it. So perfect balance exists. You have to learn that too. So technically, we are coming to a conclusion finally, right? Rejection is bullshit because you can outgrow that. You can mature into something that will not reject people anymore. That will give a good feeling to them or a satisfaction to them to a certain degree. And, well, then you can reject them by giving them something that they were looking for. And because you get approached, you're gonna get a boost of self-esteem that will not completely destroy everything, right? You don't want to have self-esteem where you're narcissistic. Well, the fun part is I'm gonna mention it again. I collect pictures of women, and I usually just get what I wanted. As I've said, like, that's all women can actually produce perfectly is just pictures of themselves. To be honest, we are so incapable of actually producing anything else as humans. Like, conversation, nope, that's not gonna happen. We have no idea how to do that. What goes into a conversation? Where does it come from? I have a few clues how to make a conversation, but I definitely don't know how to make sure that the conversation happens anyways, because the other person may not have the same clues, right? maybe completely confused what I'm trying to talk about. Then I get confused. Then everyone gets confused. There's no standard for how conversations are made, but there is a standard how pictures are made for some reason. Yeah. You can't have a good conversation, but you can have good sex, right? That's what it's all about. I think that's kind of false. False. Because you kind of need the flirt first, right? But it's not a good conversation. I don't think it's just something we agree on to, you know, give enough clues of like, oh, I kind of want sex, but I am gonna tell you in weird ways. And I don't think that's false then. Fuck that. Fuck, flirt doesn't fucking count, okay? As a conversation. So I guess that's it. That's the end of the video. Unless I change my mind about something. But the rejection is bullshit. Because you have to learn a lot of things to overcome this bullshit. Perfect. We can certainly take rejection and look at it and see how we can actually build a better society that way. This is really cool thing. But it's obviously when you ask whether rejection is bullshit or not, that's what it hits you with all this knowledge, dude. If you really think about it, our society is pretty basic. The schools are kind of lame and old school. The schools are old school now. Compared to all the technology that we're getting, we could be doing a lot better. Figuring out how to fucking put together, I don't know. I would say universal basic income is pretty cool, right? And everyone should have it. But I think it's still pretty early for that. I think we're just dreaming at this point. But at the same time, you don't want to have people who are struggling in life, right? You want to help them out. So if enough people want to help out, and if enough people are willing to work for it, which is kind of lame, right? You have to have volunteers. I'm not sure, man, who would be willing to actually sacrifice. But again, if you have enough of that, people who don't mind working like 1 hour for someone else, right? For some greater cause to make the world a better place. If there's enough of those people, then maybe we can actually have universal basic income and all the good stuff that comes out of it, where society is, much brighter. Let's put it that way. There's no people with weird intentions. There's just people who are curious, who want to learn, who want to find friends and everything. But at the same, it's just such a fucking weird thing. Just for me, what does finding friends mean? What are you gonna do with those friends? What's the point? For me, that's the biggest fucking problem. That's kind of off topic here. It kind of needs a new topic. It's friendship is bullshit. With computers and stuff, maybe, man. It's kind of crazy. I think this sums up everything quite clearly. Acceptance is the opposite of rejection. So, that's what we need more of. One way or the other. We have to figure this out before we actually push people to accept things. We need to understand a lot more things. We need to slow down because nothing happens just because you want it to happen. You have to actually argue your way through it. if you don't put together good arguments why you feel a certain way, why you want certain things to be done, if you don't put good arguments, then we fail. What you want will fail anyways. It's gonna be too fast. It's gonna be uncontrolled. Accept more migrants, basically. I just bumped into Paul Joseph Watson video that talked about migrants being kind of rough to the countries that they come into. And we want to allow more migrants to come in because they're in poor countries. We want to help them. But again, in this case, maybe we're dealing with bullshit. Maybe we have to reject it instead of being more willing to accept. Maybe we should be willing to reject instead because we're not capable of doing something. We need to always know what we're capable of doing, so rejection is not completely useless, right? But yeah, it's very interesting how this new leftist culture wants acceptance so badly for so many different things too. And I'm kind of technically just helping them by saying rejection is bullshit. It's not very good. We have to put this, right? We have to understand that acceptance has to be learned, not just completely change your rejection into acceptance all of a sudden, as a rule. Again, you're not supposed to change your mind just because someone says so. You have to change your mind because it makes a good argument. This is how you break through rejection in the first place. You have to make good arguments. And you will notice if you make a good argument, people will argue with you. Whether they accept you or not, it doesn't matter. They accepted the whole conversation to begin with. They accepted the whole argument to try and fight against you. That means that you made a good argument if people want to fight with you all of a sudden. Otherwise, they wouldn't care, right? How long did it took me to figure this out? And what was my ground argument? You need to consider things, right? No cannot be sharp and straightforward. It's never that easy, right? There's always arguments against you, which you have to consider. So that makes sense. We started June 18 at 6 a.m. It took me 2 days. Almost 2 days to figure this out. I hope you enjoyed it. See you guys next time I find something bullshit. You are now officially rejected from watching this video. Who knew, right? But it was free, so I think that was a good deal.